All right, man. Let's keep this real simple and brief. So we got Charlo and Trout. We also have Leo Santanacruz, Mares, and we also have Crawford and Jeff Horn. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the fight that everybody wants to see, which I know that I want to see. First fight was a good fight. I enjoyed watching these two guys, Santa Cruz and Mares, get in that ring. It was a really good fight. I just rewatched it, the first one. I mean, it's been almost 3 years. So it's been 2 years since these guys got in at 126. Let's see what they're gonna do this weekend, tomorrow. Hope you guys are gonna tune in, check it out. I'll be pretty much here all weekend watching the fight, watching all of these fights actually. But let's talk about what happened in the fight, what went wrong, what could have happened, what should have happened. Leo Santa Cruz did what he had to do in the fight. He got roughed up by Mares in the first, I would say the first three rounds was really rough. The pace was pretty fast in the first one. Mares was concentrating. To me, he only had two game plans, which was a big mistake on his end. The game plan was to get inside, try to smother Santa Cruz's punches, try to limit his punch output, and show the judges ringside that he had command of the fight. And then the second thing that he tried to do, he knew that the fight was going to turn into that Leo Santa Cruz would want to box on the outside. So he tried to work on countering Santa Cruz when Santa Cruz would come in. He knew Santa Cruz would come in with the jab, throw the 1-2, and basically try to headhunt. So he was set on throwing his counter to the body whenever that happened. He had a little bit of success throughout the fight with that. I think he would have had more success because he did turn him. He was turning in the fight, but where he made his mistake at is he was backing up when Santa Cruz would come in, because I know the size, it didn't intimidate him, but it threw him off of his game plan. The height, shall I say, and the reach really kept him at bay. So he was backing up a lot, and he began to turn, but I noticed maybe in around the fifth or the sixth, he started turning, and he was using angles, and it was throwing Santa Cruz off just a slight bit. So I think that if he would have continued with that, he would have had more success, because it would have mixed up his attack for him, and it would have threw Santa Cruz off a little bit, because he had Santa Cruz missing, and he was slipping punches. He was slipping, dipping, and all of a sudden it just stopped. It stopped kind of early too. In the fight, like he had moments where he would break it out, and then he would stop, especially in the first 4 rounds. Then he slowed down in the fifth and the sixth, and you could see around the seventh or the eighth where he started tiring out a little bit, because he was doing too much tying up, grabbing and holding, and trying to rough up Santa Cruz, because he felt like he was the stronger man. Even though he was the smaller man, he looked bigger. So as far as his width, as far as his mass goes. So he felt like he would be able to rough up Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz held his ground. So Santa Cruz did well in the fight. He did a lot better than I thought he was going to do in that first fight. He maintained the jab. He had his moments where he was fighting close quarters, which is, he wanted to show that he wasn't a punk and he wasn't going to get backed down by Mares. So he stood in the pocket and did what he had to do. But then he also utilized his ring smarts, as he always does, and he went back to boxing. So he kept Mares at bay, forced him back with the jab, and with the 1-2, straight right down the pipe, and also the left hook and the right hook. He went to the body, a few times in the fight, but mainly head hunting, jabbing, and just worked on turning uh, Mares as well. So you had a lot of that going on in the fight for Leo Santanacruz. He did pretty well against Mares. So I think it's going to be more the same in the second fight. You're not going to change much of what garnered you success in the first fight. I think maybe he would put together more of his combinations and his strategy early in the fight, more so than he did in the second fight, more so than he did in the first fight. So I think that they both are gonna try their best to, since they now know each other, they're gonna try to, somebody's gonna have to set the tone early in the fight. And I believe that Santanacruz is going to work hard to make sure that he establishes himself as the ring general in there rather early. But Mares is going to be determined. He's going to be too determined, in my opinion, to prove that he could do a lot better than he did in the first fight, due to the fact that it was a lot of clashing of heads and he was cut. And he was badly cut, man, and bruised a lot in the fight. A lot of it due to him just being real rough. He's like a Latin Sean Porter, just wants to get in there and get gritty and turn the fight into something dirty. Not necessarily dirty in the fact that he's cheating, but it's just a hard fought fight, and that's what he wanted to turn the fight into. But Santanacruz is he's a very, very smart fighter, man, and he's going to stick to what has garnered him success all the way up until this point, boxing, utilizing the jab, maintaining space, putting together his combinations, moving, constant movement, just maintaining his punch output, his rate, just staying busy. And that's pretty much what he's going to do in this second fight. He's not going to change from doing that. It's going to be up to Mares to come in and show him something different in order for Santanacruz to change up who he is in the fight. So he's gonna have to keep the countering coming, but he needs to maintain the jab. He was not utilizing the jab, and that's the thing about brawlers. They can go in there and they can land some hard shots, and they can hurt their opponents. They can even try to put their opponents away. But when you can't force your way inside and do your damage, then what is your next step? What is your game plan? And first of all, if you're the shorter man, you got to try to be able to get inside. And he wasn't really able to get inside without taking punishment from Santanacruz. So he would take punishment coming in because him being a smaller man, he had to dip low, and then try to get in there with a jab to the body, or just take his chances and just dive in there and just start throwing punches wherever he could land them. And whenever he would do that, Santanacruz would catch him coming in, especially when he started showing signs of being fatigued. So my pick for that fight will be Leo Santanacruz again, and then on top of it, I would have Charlo against Trout by knockout. And as far as Crawford and Horn goes, I already did my review on that one. I'm going to post that one up first, and then I'll post this one up tomorrow morning. Post this one up on Saturday. So you guys know I'm already ahead of time. So I'm just trying to make sure I get all of this stuff out. I'm not going to do a video on Charlo. I'm not going to do one on that one. But anyway, man, you guys have a good one. I'll catch you guys back here on Fight Night. Peace.